Welcome back. So in this tutorial we're going to be looking at how to use the curvature tool. The curvature tool is just the opposite of the pen tool. The pen tool basically is used to draw lines, while the curvature is used to make curves. And with this same tool you can still alternate from making curve to lines. Whichever one comes handy to you, you feel free to use it to create whatever illustration you want to make, or create whatever shape or freehand sketch you want to make. So the curvature tool is just opposite the pen tool. Once I click on that, what it does is by default it creates rounded shapes. See that? By default it creates rounded shapes. That's what it does by default. I'm going to delete this, select this tool, delete. So I'm going to be making this circle with the curvature tool, and also show you how to use the curvature tool to create lines. So I'll click on that. I'll select my first point. I don't need to drag anything at this point because by default the curvature tool just makes curve. And I'll pick my second point, I'll pick my third point, I'll pick my fourth point, and I will complete it at this point. Now if I make any mistake and I need to make any adjustment, I can bring my direct selection tool, click this point, and then drag it maybe down. If I drag it down, then I will need to begin to make my adjustment using my handles and the rest to make the complete curve. Let me still go back to my curve tool, my curvature tool. Let me zoom in a bit so that we can see what's going on here. My curvature tool, pick my first point, pick my second point, pick my third point, pick my fourth point, and then complete. You can see it's easy to make circle with the curvature tool, or to make curves actually with the curvature tool, not just circle. So you can make complicated curves with the curvature tool. I know in the last assignment you might have struggled using the pen tool to create that other shape that we had there, but you can see yourself in the future, alternating from the pen tool to the curvature tool, or even make use of one to create whatever you want. So now we can also use the curvature tool to make a line. You could see these are lines, So once I click at my first point and click at the second point, you can see it makes a curve, and I don't want that. So what I do is, instead of just clicking once, I will have to click twice. So if I click twice, it makes that particular curve line to become a line. So I will click at this point once, you will see it still makes a curve. I will double click and it makes a line. And if I want to finish off, if I click once, it makes a curve, but if I click twice, it makes a line. See that? So this makes a whole world of difference when you know how to use these tools. Let me zoom in again to make this shape as well. Alright, I'll bring my curve tool, my curvature tool, pick my first point, pick my second point. You can see it makes that curve for me. Let me go back a bit and go up a little more. It makes that curve for me. So instead of picking this point and it continues making circle, and I want to make this small arc here, I'm going to pick this point so that once I move my cursor out, you can see it makes that inner curve here. Pick this point. Pick this point, pick this point, pick this point, pick this point, then finish up this point. Of course, I can still use my direct selection tool, you guessed it right, to make some modifications here. So once I click that, I go to my handle and then begin to make sure that everything is well aligned till I get what I want. Seems like it's even easy to use the curvature tool to make these curves. So these are very good tools that once you master in Adobe Illustrator, you wouldn't have any issue in the future when you are creating logos or whatever sophisticated shape you're going to be working with. So I'm still going to get my curve tool, click at this point, click at this point. Let me just go back a bit, get it again. Let me delete this point. Let me start from this point, click at this point, click at this point, click at this point, this point, click at this point, click at this point, click at this point, and then finish up here. Alright, I can still get my, you guys just try that selection tool, click at this point, drag it up a bit, See that? So it makes this quickly. Curve tool, take this point, second point, third point, fourth point, and then finish off. First point, I can even go anti-clockwise, finish off. Pick my first point, second point, point, fourth point, first point. I can even pick one more point here and then finish off here. So you can see that is how to use the Curvature tool. If you have any slight modification, you know what to do. You guess you try direct selection tool to make any slight modification. I'm going to zoom back and then add color. Select anyone, add any color you want. And any color you want to it. This one, yes. So with this, I hope you've been able to learn one or two things today that's going to come in handy within the week to practice with. So now your assignment for this tutorial video is to just try as much as possible to create these two shapes using the Curvature tool, so that you can get acquainted on how to use this particular tool to create your own shapes. I'm going to leave, of course, the link to this on the description video. Just go ahead, download it, it's free, and then create your own shapes with it. Alright, see you in the next video.